website. Oh, yeah, a problem. I have a website with my different work since 20 years. You can see the first page here with my address. I collect stamps mainly to exhibit, mainly in France, and last year in Philately. It's my first participation in FIP level. So today I will present you part of my work on postage due item during the Hungarian hyperinflation. It's only an extract of my collection because I have only 1 hour. Okay. To study the postage due area, I need, of course, documentation of the postal regulations from 1945, 1946, and some books, as of course, Bob's one. It's my holy Bible during 10 years. But for postage due area, it's difficult to study that because a part of the regulations are lost. So I have to find them at first in collecting the most mails possible. And it's a difficult subject because around 2% of the mails from the hyperinflation are for postage due. Postage due, what is that? It's when the recipient have to pay something on the mail he received, and it could be a penalty for the calculation or not a penalty. It's a very rich subject. I listed 24 different categories for a postage due during the hyperinflation. So the first mail I want to see you, it's this one. For philatelists who collect hyperinflation, it's an important mail sent during the first date of the hyperinflation. You can see the sending on May 1, 1944, May 1. It's a postcard. It's unfranked. At first, this postcard was got a penalty of 120 filler. After inside the postal process, different calculation was made, and in the Sekes Ferva, in the delivering post office, the request of the postage due as made here on May 8th. But for the collection of postage due, the importance is on the request. If you want to find the first date possible, it's on the request, on the postage due stamps. And unfortunately, I haven't found any May 1 for the request, and no May 2nd too. I only found this one for May 3rd. And if the request of a postage due is made at the beginning of the hyperinflation, the mail probably was sent during the PET, the Pest Emergency Tariff. It's between March 2 and April 13, 1945, as on this postcard. This postcard was written in Sarva, but the cancellation is in Budapest on the last day of the PET. And the request was done on May 3rd in Budapest. I like this kind of mail because the PET is still a period for which we discover some information, as in the article of Dan Janosch in Philately on the last day, on the last year. At the beginning, on the postage due mail, we see the brown postage due stamps. The brown postage due stamps were issued in 1941. And at the beginning of the hyperinflation, the post offices used them, but only the one who are remaining in the post. The problem is that on some post office, this kind of stamps are missing, or perhaps some values. Here on this cover, you can see the mixed using of brown postage due stamps and postage stamps. The postage stamps are cancelled by Porto postage due marking. It's a local cover. I don't know other requests with this kind of franking in postage due. Here it's for Haboni local postage due stamps. These stamps were issued in Haboni by the postmaster himself on May 1945. And the stamps were used during some days or some weeks, and they were picked up by the Budapest Stamp Museum. Only one sheet of 100 stamps were issued for each overprinting, and it's staying only a little of them in the philatelic market. You need a certificate for all these stamps because there are plenty fakes. The mail here, the cover here, we have a certificate, and most of the cover known were locally made by the postmaster himself, and this one not at all. It's a very important mail because it's very, very scarce. With the missing of a postage due, different meaning for the franking to the request was done. For example, claiming with postage due stamps, with revenue stamps. The revenue stamps can't be used by the people, of course, for the franking of their mail, but the post office workers could, but it's very, very rare. On this postcard, you can see a request of 4,000 tenge, and the request was done with revenue stamps. Right. This postcard was inside the collection of Gabor Wisniewski. It's important inside this collection. So during May 1945, only the brown postage due stamps were used, and in June 1, the first postage due from the hyperinflation were issued. You can see here the 18 stamps. They are not scarce at all. Perhaps the 20 filler and 6 filler. You can find these stamps inside all the collections, often in mint condition, and sometimes in wall sheets. So they are not scarce at all. But the interesting is to study them on the mails. And on the mails, when I began this collection, I didn't know at all what is the real value or interest of each stamp on the mail directly. Now, after 5 years, I can say some things on the postal history with these stamps. You can find all this one, but not the 20 filler and 6 filler. I never saw this kind of stamps on regular mail. And if you read the black book from Gabor Wisniewski, it's indicated that we can't find these stamps on mail. I don't know why, and I ought to find it perhaps in the future. And I'm going to talk about the 40 filler and 16 filler. This one, I only find it on one mail here. You can see that here. Only one mail in 5 years. I don't know if really it's a scarce stamp on mail. I don't know why it's scarce, but perhaps Bob has a sense of that. I don't know, but I only saw the one you can see here. What you have to know on these stamps is the background is blue, and the blue background I found 3 tones, perhaps 3 printing of these stamps. I'm still in study for these stamps, and I prepare an article on that. So from June 1945, the overprinted postage due stamps were used, sometimes with brown postage due, as on this mail. It's a mail. The sender lives in Kalocsa, but the cover was posted in Budapest, surely deposited inside the mailbox in Budapest. But the recipient is normally addressed. The new address is researched but not found. At first, the cover is a local one because the recipient lives in Budapest. But as the recipient is not found, the cover is sent back to the sender. But the sender's address is in Kalocsa, not in Budapest. So at first the mail is a local one, but for the return visa, for the return, it becomes a domestic one. So the postage due calculation changed, and the sender had to pay 2 penge. You can see the stamps on back, the 540 filler and postage due stamps, and a pretty provisional date stamp. I like this mail. In September 1945, in middle of this month, the overprinted postage due stamps began to miss some values, mainly the filler denomination. And you can see franking for the request, franking with overstamp as usual, as like on this cover. It's 3 issues for the postage due. I don't know over like that during the hyperinflation, because of the presence of the blue postage due stamp, the 80 filler. This one was issued in 1934, and the blue postage due stamps were withdrawn in end of 1942. And 3 years after, you can see one of this stamp used on this mail. This one was inside the collection of Gabor Wisniewski too. In September is the end of the period too. You can see, for example, this kind of request with a bisected postage due stamp. I know only 2 mails like that, with a bisected postage due hyperinflation postage due stamp. The other existing is a cover inside the collection of Dan Janosch. And the Dan Janosch one is in September 14, and mine in September 12. And here, for the postage due calculation, the sum requests is less than the amount to request. But in my mind, inside, for example, here is in Alberti Piersa, no more stamp to stamp really for the request. So they use 80 filler bisected for a value of 40 filler. And the first postage due of the postage due stamps from hyperinflation were printed in Athenaeum work. It's bad quality. And after the Hungarian Post issued the State Printing Works postage due stamp. It's in better quality, but no indication inside all the documentation I find on these stamps we only know that nine stamps were issued, but no dates. In my mind, the state printing works postage due stamps were issued just after this date. The first mail I know with the state printing works is September 18, and here we are September 12 and September 14. I'm trying to find perhaps really the date of issuing of state printing works. Later in my presentation, I will show you some of these stamps. A telegram. A telegram here is particular. This was sent during period 2, and the sender refused to pay all the fee. The fee was 1 pengo per word, but a minimum of 10 pengo. It's a 8 pengo telegram, and the sender refused to pay the 2 pengo more. And then the 2 pengo are requests from the recipient. 2 pengo, so the single deficiency. It's the only case I know on the telegram for the hyperinflation. You can see the additional sheet with the explanation of the problem with the sending of this telegram, and the stamp here, the postage due stamp for 2 pengo for the request of the same. The postage due stamps were issued up to September, end of September 1945. The highest facial is 20 pengo. And with the course of the hyperinflation, 20 pengo is a very, very small value for period 6. And they can't use any postage due stamp after period 7. And the request was done only in unwritten sum, as on this cover. At first, the cover was sent with 2 stamps for 5 milliopengo, but the rate is 6 milliopengo for local letter, so a deficiency of 1 milliopengo, and the postage due calculation made 2 milliopengo, and the addressee is not 5, and there is a research of a new address, and here the research is done with an additional sheet with postal regulation numbers too. I don't find that, for instance, inside the postal documentation, but I think it's very interesting. I don't know other kind of requests, postage requests, and here the mail was forwarded in 3 offices. It's very beautiful. Here. Single deficiency calculation is a very interesting calculation. What we know in the penalty done for the postage due calculation is normally both of the deficiency, but for grace periods from some periods during the hyperinflation, there is a request of the single deficiency, only the single deficiency. from period 12 to period 21. Only 30 days, 30 days, yeah, for grace period possible to find postage due mails during these 30 days. But it's very scarce, very scarce. I only listed around 10 of that. The explanation of this one, it's a postcard. It's pre-frank for 70 million pango, but the postcard was really shipped in period 19, sorry, with a 3,000 million pango stamp for 3 million pango. The rate is 2.4 million pango. The postcard were probably put inside the mailbox during the end of the period 19, and the postcard was picked up by the postman on the first day of period 20. So the recipient had to pay the difference between the rate of the new period is 12 million pounds, and the single deficiency made 9 million pounds. And on the postcard you see T9 in green pencil. This one was handwritten on the dispatching post office in Budapest, and then the postcard was shipped to Budafok, and in Budafok is put a red date stamp. You can see here the red date stamp of Budafok. Normally, this kind of date stamp is to attest a payment, but here it's only to attest the request. And the problem is that the recipient refused to pay the postage due. Then the postcard is sent, go back to the sender. The postage due is invalidated. You can see that here with the red date stamp crossed by green pencil. And then the postcard is sent back to the sender. The sender had to pay the 9 million pounds. Here, it's a special mail. It's unclosed mail, and during my study during the past 5 years, I found 8 mail as that. It's unclosed mail with a single deficiency calculation for postage due. I haven't found any postal regulation on that, but the 5 cover I have are on different periods, different type of franking, different type of rates. So in my mind, really, there was a special calculation for this kind of mail. The unclosed cover have a flap unglued. It's like that we can recognize them. This one was sent is a local one. In fact, for sending of a printed matter, surely a local visit card. it was probably sent during the period 21, but the cover was picked up by the postman on the first day of the period 22. But on the first day of the period 22, if it's the grace period, but normally it can be charged. The charging is only up to the period 21. But this one was charged. In my mind, it was charged only on the delivery, before the delivery. And the recipient is not found. There is a research, but the recipient is not found. The postage due was made like that. In period 22, a printed matter has a cost of 8 billion pengo. It means 8,000 million pengo, and the franking is only 50 million pengo. So the postage due calculation made way 8 billion less 50 million, so 8 billion pengo. So as the recipient is not found, the amount due is invalidated, and the cover is sent back to the sender. And this one had to pay 8 billion pengo. There is a green mark and below the inside. You can see inside the red postage due marking. In my mind, this one tell us that the recipient really paid this sum. The mail during the period 22, 23, and 24 are very scarce. Of course, it's better with DOF stamps, but there are enough DOF stamps inside it. Postage due calculation are different for mail from abroad to Hungary or from Hungary to abroad. There are especially calculations. In mathematics, we call this kind of calculation the proportionality. So, for example, for this postcard sent from Italy to Budapest, there is special calculation. If the mail is partly franked and the Hungarian post office worker is aware of the lack, the postage due is, as you can see here, 2 times the deficiency in the country of the sender, divided by the proper rate in this country, multiplied by the Hungarian equivalent rate. So, for example, on this postcard, the sender in Italy shipped this postcard with a franking of 3 lire, but the rate is 10 lire. You can see marking here, high 7. High 7 is for international 7 lire, and the T marking for postage due. All of that were handwritten probably in Italy. And when the postcard is arrived in Hungary, is during the period 16. The international postcard rate was 100 million pengo. So the calculation has to be 2 times 7 lire divided by 10 lire multiplied by 100 million pengo. it's making 140 million pounds. And this sum is requested inside the red postage due marking here. What we have to know on the postal exchange between Italy and Hungary. We don't know exactly when the traffic was reopened. I see that on one article it's assumed that for the date of 1946, June 14, but these postcards were sent in April 17. So the restarting of postal traffic with Italy was surely done before this date. For some countries, we have to know exactly the restarting. In the PRT 1944, not 1945 and 1946, we have dates for some countries as Romania, Czechoslovakia, but for some other countries we have not. This one is an interesting cover. At first, it was sent from Budapest to Budapest, local cover, unfranked. So the recipient had to pay 2 times the rate, so £1. The request of the sum is made with a brown postage due stamp. But the problem is that the recipient is not found at the address, but he is found in Romania. And the cover was sent during the period 1, and the problem is Romania, the postal traffic with Romania was closed during the period 1. It was reopened only during the period 5. In November 17. And there is no address unwritten on the back of the cover. So the cover had to stay in the post office in waiting that the postal traffic with Romania is reopened. So the postal traffic was reopened and the cover was shipped to Romania. And it arrived only in January 25, so more than 7 months after the sending. And a new postage due calculation is done. This time in Lei, in Romania. Here is 2 times the domestic rate. So I search actively this kind of postage due mail. So it's very interesting. Different postage due calculation and some like that, and on different countries. It's very scarce and very interesting to study. Now some mail, some official mails. And official mails, the regulations for most of them are not known. But what we know is if there is an administrative origin proof on the mail, and if it is unwritten or tipped ivatalbol protocolless, so the recipient had to pay the rate, and the office can't to send the mail without paying the franking. as on this printed matter. And what is interesting here is we using other postage stamps, other printed T marking. Of course, we know that with this kind of using after the First World War in 1919, 1920. But during the hyperinflation is not a common using. I listed very few of this kind of mail and this kind of using with postage stamps, other printed T or Porto or P or postage due markings. For official receipts, we don't know at all any rates for hyperinflation as on this receipt. And the interesting here is that the recipient live in Dambova, and in Dambova during the hyperinflation, the postmaster sometimes don't use any postage stamps or postage due stamps, use a local sticker, provisional local sticker, filled in with some to request from the recipient, as here. I only listed six of this kind of using during the hyperinflation, only 6. There is one inside the box collection, and three inside mine collection. Another official receipt. And this one is interesting because the postage due franking is done with overprinted stamp in state printing work. You can see here the difference between the Athenaeum works and state printing here. And what I've said 20 minutes ago, these stamps were probably issued at the beginning of the period 3. And at the beginning of the period 3, the rates were in pengo, multiple of pengos. So the filler values were not really available, perhaps using in multiple. And for the state printing stamps, only 5 stamps were issued. From 40 filler to 2 pengo. You see here the description. Okay. And of course, I tried to list what I can see with these stamps, really, and I don't find any 40 filler on this kind of mail. And for the 80 filler, it's here. But I don't know over such mail, for instance. The state printing stamps are listed and quoted inside the black book, and inside the black book and inside the monographia. It's indicated that the scarce stamp of the series is the 20 filler and 30 filler as well, and the 1 pengo and 30 filler. I haven't find it this stamp yet on a mail. It's on the hand. It's the end of the hyperinflation. During the hyperinflation, the tango is inflation, and it was replaced by the Ado Tango on stamp only from July 15 up to July 31. And on August 1, in 1946, the Ado Tango is replaced by the foreign currency, 1 forint for 100 new filler, with a quote of 1 forint for 200 million Ado Tango. And the payment is Ado Tango in Ado Tango is still available in August 1, but only August 1. And it's interesting to see a payment in Ado Tango only on August 1, as on this postcard. The postcard was handwritten by a child during his holidays on July 13, and the postcard was shipped in July 31, the last day of the hyperinflation. A T marking was put here. The stamp have no values. A T marking, but no postage due. What you see here was made in the delivering post office. The postcard was shipped to Budapest, and in Budapest, the postage due calculation is done, but it is done on August 1. In August 1, the new rate is for domestic postcard for 40 new filler. So the postage due calculation made 40 filler to collect from the recipient. But the interesting here is that the sum is in Ado Tango is 160 million for Ado Tango, and this sum is the result of the calculation with the court here. You can see here, so exactly the sum in Ado Tango for 80 new filler, and the payment was done. We can see a lot the dates, but it's August 1, and it was done inside the post office of Budapest. So if the postage due would be done on the last day of the hyperinflation, the recipient normally had to pay 2 times the rate for this kind of postcard on the last day of the hyperinflation is 2 times 200,000 Ado Tango. But as the calculation has made 1 day after, the recipient had to pay this sum. It means 400 times the previous postage due amount. So it's the problem of the hyperinflation. And this one is the first is the only mail who is not inside my collection. Is this one 31. The last year I was in Philately, and I exhibited in Philately, and after the exhibition I talked with a jury member, and the jury member said about my presentation, oh, good plan, good, yes. But perhaps you will have to get perhaps more scarce mails, more scarce mail. I have some too, but I asked to him, perhaps you are talking to me about Dove stamps on mail, and he said, yes, Dove stamps, yes. the problem is that the two non-postage due mail with dove stamps are inside the Arundel collection, and the Arundel collection is inside the Budapest Stamp Museum. So, in Philex, I was in Budapest and I could see the Arundel collection, very great collection, and that is directly a photo I made from the page with the mail. So I actively search this kind of mail, of course, very actively. I stopped to exhibit up to I find this kind of mail. As that the jury won't say me that I haven't. But of course, very scarce. And I see that. Okay. So, oh yeah, 1 hour. That's good. That's all, folks. Thank you very much for your attention. And I'm very sorry for my French accent and for the massacre of English language. Very sorry.
Oh, that was fine. You did. It was very excellent. Quite, quite interesting. I know we had one question myself from Joe. Did you have a question earlier? You chatted.
Yeah, I did. Back on your slide, you had one slide where it showed 2 rare stamps, and I was like slide 6 or something. And you said one of them you've known uncover, the other one not uncover. And what my question was is, there it is. Go forward.
Yeah, it was 6. 2 more.
6?
Yeah. I think it's slide 6.
No,
other way.
Oh.
Right there. Those 2 stamps, what makes them so rare? Why? Because I mean, a lot of them were issued. So why are they rare?
For the 20 filler and 6 filler,
yep.
At first, I don't know why so short issuing. I don't know at all why. At first, I think that perhaps it's a mistake. But I don't know. I have no information of this stamp.
Okay.
And for this one, is very common. Very common. You can see that inside all the collection in mint condition. But on mail, I don't know. I really don't know. I only find one of this stamp. At first, I thought that it was issued only at the end of period 2, perhaps the beginning of period 3 as the state printing postage due. But you can find this stamp with 3 blue background. 3 blue background is 3 issuing. So I don't know. I don't know. And I actively research this stamp perhaps on mail. I don't know.
I was just wondering if it was maybe a rare postal rate or something like that, And so when you doubled it, you just never use these things.
Perhaps.
Florent, the numbers that you've got in brackets underneath, are they the number of the stamps that people think were actually printed, right?
Sold, I think.
Yes. The number you see that is for Athenaeum issuing and state printing. The both. We don't know really. For example, for state printing, how many were issued? Here are only the sum of all issued. Yeah.
Okay.
But what is interesting is really to see the really value of rarity of the state printing stamp. In my mind, there are they are they are more scarce than we can expect. And above all, the small value.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Joe, because I mean, if you look at the table, right, there are 320 filler stamps.
Yep.
And 2 of them they printed a shitload of and are, obviously found on mail, but there's just the one that was actually printed on, what's the 6 filler, the old 6 filler brown one, just wasn't used.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, it's just, I can understand, having leftover stock and stuff, but it just jumped out at me and said, should have had a lot more than that. And then there was that one that was really common and one known example. And I'm like, wow, it's got to be some reason there.
What is difficult with this collection? If, for example, you see the brown postage due stamps, this kind of stamps, if you find that inside the World War II cover, is very, very, very common, very common. But during the hyperinflation, they're using this 1 month and for example, 2 or 3 months. But that is more scarce than expected in my mind. But in June, only you can find them, and postage stamps and revenue stamps too.
So this is a tremendous collection.
So really the thing to look for on all of there, what you really have to focus on is the date of the cancellation.
Absolutely. And then you got to have a brain like Florent, so that you can remember what period and what rate you're supposed to have. I'm gonna tell you what, that's why I asked the question. Is this going to be on the website? This is a great training aid for us novices in this area to actually understand what they mean in the catalogs.
Yeah, we will be posting this up on the website next week, and then the recording probably a bit later, but I'll ask Wally to put the presentation up right away.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something here?
Bob?
First, I want to congratulate to Florent. This is a fantastic collection.
Oh, thank you.
I want everybody to know that what you have seen, these are extremely rare postal history documents.
Yeah.
One of them. And I cannot appreciate more than what I could, what Florent put into this collection. And I congratulate him, and I wish him all the best in the future. And I have the highest regards for him.
You will be the best for
Amen.
Florent, that was fascinating.
You guys have no idea how much work and knowledge goes into this subject in hyperinflation.
Well, I've got a pretty good idea. That's why I want Florent's brain.
yes, my brain. I'm a mathematics teacher, of course. I like all of that.
No, but just tracking down these rates and the dates the dates it was posted, and here's the next day. It's just so many of this. This was the last day, and it, got marked postage due on the first day of the next rate. That stuff, like Bob says, it's got to be extremely rare.
Yeah, and the rate of change is the other thing. It's just day to day things changed, and these periods were all in little over a year, so it's crazy.
Now every time I look at a Hungarian piece of Hungarian envelope or postcard, I'll be looking for postage due stamps.
Well, actually, yeah, Bob, when I was starting to look at kind of the early parts of this of the hyperinflation, Bob sent me a table of rates.
Mhm.
Like for each of the various periods, and all of your different letter rates, domestic and postcard rates and printed matter rates and all this kind of stuff. So that actually might be something that we should post on the website, Alan, just so that everybody's got, you can click and, oh, okay, so here are postage rates, because without that, like this table of postage rates, you're screwed, man. You will never figure anything out.
Exactly.
I can try to find it. I think we have it somewhere up there, but I know we have access to it. So I'll see if I can put it, put it in this section here.
I was going to say, put it near this brief.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'll put it near this, and then it'll be close. It'll be more easily accessible, because I know we have it.
You have to get Robert's book.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, we can try to find it. I'm just not sure I can.
Yeah, we actually have, Robert, we have some of your books, so we
Oh,
actually
sweet.
have. Yeah, we have a
Oh,
few in the library. I think we can actually sell a couple.
I'm working for a postage due part of my website. Before to read a book as Bob one.
We can put a
but
link.
It's a very, very, very big work. I've no time, for instance, to read postage due part of my website. For the parcel cards part, you can see now on the net. I need 10 months to read it. There are 250 pages. Wow. But in my mind, for postage due parts, it's like that. I know around 300 and a half up to 400 mail in postage due during the hyperinflation. So hundreds of pages possible to write, but not this year. I won't have the time for. But very interesting for me, it's to write a book directly and only on the postage due area during the hyperinflation. But I know that I will be only the one who will be interested by my book, because it's very short domain. Perhaps Bob will be interested. I don't know, but I know it's only to. I will be happy to do that, but only for posterity, but not with a lot of interesting for other philatelists. I know, but it's my work. My work is to do that, and I like that.
Florent, Andrew has a question.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Florent. I very much enjoyed your display and
Thank you very much.
learned a lot from it. Could I say that the overprinted postage due stamps, would I be correct in saying that actually none of them are very common on covers?
Could you repeat, please?
The overprinted postage due stamps. Would I be correct in saying that none of those are actually common on covers? There's lots of them about, mint stamps, but not many on covers. Not many correctly used on covers to collect postage due.
You talk about that? Yes. What I show you. You talk about that?
No, I was just saying that none of those postage due overprinted stamps were common on covers.
Yeah. They are uncommon. For me, the uncommon is 10 filler 1, 20 filler 1, but 1 pango, 2 pango, you could find that during 4 or 5 months during the hyperinflation. But the important thing is to study the different issuing of these stamps. I think that is with the background, the blue background. There are three blue backgrounds. The first issue on June is with a blue-white background, blue-white, and I can say that because I have mails with these stamps. And after 2 weeks after, the background changed. It's a bit bluer. And 3 months after, the blue background is dark blue. Yeah, and the state printing is only on dark blue background. You know, my work is to find exactly when these stamps were issued, and to tell you if they are scarce on mail or not. All are scarce. 300, 400 of mails is not a lot, but it's sure that the two stamps I show you, of course, they are scarce, but perhaps what I've said later, perhaps I was unlucky and I never see that, but perhaps Bob has tens of that, I don't know. But what I think, the study is remaining to be done on that. But my work is only in postal history. Now, you can find all these stamps with varieties, but it's not my work. My work is on postal history. I hope to write an article in the future months on that. Yeah, but it's
Thank
my
you very much.
answer.
Thank you.
Actually, that'd be great, Florent.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Great. Any other questions that we have? Well, Florent, thank you very much. Fascinating.
Yes,
Thank
merci Florent, c'est très bien fait.
Merci, Robert, c'est très gentil. Et encore merci pour ton aide pour mes articles.
De rien.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I have,
you very much,
before
Bob.
we, Joe, you were going to say something?
No.
No, okay. So yeah, before we close out, just a couple of quick announcements. One on the previous session that we had with Chubba and Millennium Cards. George, Paul, and Chubba collaborated on updating all the information, all the numbers, and it's a great presentation. I will be sending that out to everybody tomorrow. I should be able to get it out tomorrow. So George, I know you're on. Chubba's not. Paul's there too. So thank you guys too for getting this all together. And the next, just one announcement on the next session is going to be Chris. Chris Brainerd has got his stuff together, and he'll be presenting, let's see, May 13th. The next 2 months, we're not going to have sessions, there's vacations and other things. So Chris will be presenting on the 13th of May on how to become an occupation expert. So that will be fascinating. Jan Yap will be presenting after that, but next 2 months we're off. May 13th. Hopefully we'll see you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Florent.
much,
Great
Yeah.
brief, Florent.
Thank you very much
Bye.
for your
Okay.
attention.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
bye-bye.
There.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.